You saw the tourist section of the Western Wall. Make room for the gentleman, please. As we cross the plaza where I said we'll visit again. But this is the continuation of that wall. And I'm standing in front of the main concourse to the Western Wall. This is the concourse that supports the whole rest of the structure. I'm standing in front of the largest stone in the wall. It is 45 feet long, almost to where this lady is praying, and down to a crack that you'll see in that direction. 45 feet long. It is 15 feet high, and it is 10 feet deep. That is the heaviest stone in the wall. If I tell you that there is not a stone in this entire wall that is less than 2.5 tons, how much do you think this stone weighs? Just throw out a number.
50 tons.
I'm sorry?
50 tons.
50 tons is almost the weight of one Israeli tank. It's more.
200 billion tons.
Okay. So I'll tell you. Is 600 tons.
Wow.
600 tons. People say, how do you move such a stone? I always say carefully. But this stone was most probably rolled into place. Remember how Mount Moriah went up? And I said they quarried there, and then they could roll the stone down into position. This is the master course, but beneath it are these stones that go down another 7 layers into the ground. And we'll see that very shortly. But this being the master course, it could be rolled down on rollers pulled by oxen and then rolled into place here. We have found between the stones lead foil, which started out as lead balls. And placing lead balls on the lower concourse, you roll the stone across and you have a couple of seconds before it goes flat and makes lead foil out of the lead balls, okay? Because we found the foil. Okay? And this stone at 600 tons is half again the next heaviest stone, which is down, the next stone down, which is 400 tons. Now just to give you an idea, 400 tons is the maximum takeoff weight of a Boeing 747 fully loaded with cargo, fuel, and passengers. So to me, the question is not how did they move the stone? The real question is how do they keep that Boeing 747 up in the air when it's that heavy flying across the sky? Think of that when you fly. These rectangular holes that you see became supports for buildings that were attached onto it. Why build a wall if you already have one standing here? You put in beams to support either a ceiling or a floor or whatever you want to do. This became part of a water cistern that was built in the Arab period. Now, as we walk down in that direction, we're going to come to the closest spot that we will probably ever come to the Holy of Holies. And we don't know where the Holy of Holies was. What was in the Holy of Holies?
The Ark.
The Ark of the Covenant. Anything else?
Wedding rod.
The manna.
Table of showbread. The Ten Commandments. What is in the Second Temple Holy of Holies? Nothing. Jay is right. Why nothing? It was taken away in the first destruction of the first temple by Nebuchadnezzar. Though you see the Arch of Titus beautifully displayed in Rome, it is thought that what the Romans carried away was not the original, but that Solomon was given the power of vision and prophecy, and he had replicas made of, he knew the temple was going to be destroyed, he had replicas made of the items, and the originals were put in a safe place. We find clues to that in the book of Jeremiah. And if we read it properly, we should be able to find it. Well, way back in the late 1970s, we decided to dig eastward underneath the Temple Mount. And Rabbi Getz, who was the chief rabbi of the Western Wall at the time, and who was leading the archaeological effort, came to a site where, in his words, when the time is right, we can bring the things out. His conclusion was, first of all, why go look for something that's been missing for so long? Because he said the Jews would never lose something so important to them. They would protect it in some way. And that's why Solomon had replicas made. Rabbi Getz's feeling is, as far as they went under the Temple Mount, our cousins became very upset, and it came to physical blows, and it was decided that we would stop the excavations underneath. Rabbi Getz unfortunately passed away before he could write his book that he said he was going to expose everything and tell everybody. However, because we're going to go up on the Temple Mount, I'll leave some of it in suspense. We're coming to a spot that many believe is directly behind the Holy of Holies. How do we know that? We're going to walk along this way, and we will come to a huge archway that is covered up, which was the entrance that the priests used to go up onto the Temple Mount when their term of duty was time to come to serve at the temple. They would go through that archway door. And just next to it, there are stones that don't look like these stones. And many feel that that was the marker that Herod made for the identification that due eastward from those stones, we would find where the Holy of Holies stood. Many people feel today that the Dome of the Rock is where the Holy of Holies stood. I have wonderful friends, wonderful biblical scholars, and they will give me an explanation. I'll say, yep, you're right. And then I have friends who say it's not there, but it's a little bit to the northwest of where the Dome of the Rock is. And they give me a very cogent argument. And I say, yep, you're right. So I don't know which it is, but we're going to show you both sides, and you can make up your own minds. Okay? It's a conundrum. It's a great word in Scrabble. Come this way, please. Questions? You're all so quiet. I mean,